because I need to be able to learn how to hold the dark. Your capacity to hold light is only as big as your capacity to hold dark. And if you're afraid to go in the dark, you're dimming your own light. Welcome to the Multiple Truths podcast. We're your hosts, Holly
and Brittany. This is a space where we can come together healing in community, where we share our self-love journeys, insights, and wisdom.
A space with no hierarchy or judgment, fostering love, compassion, and respect, and where we honor our differences. With open minds and hearts, everyone's truth is welcome here. We are in this together. Let's dive into the episode.
Hello, how are you all doing today? We're back together. We got the duo together. Woo! I'm excited to dive into today's topic. I think that what we're talking about today is really important. There's a few things that we're going to talk about, but essentially the main point, or I don't really know what to call it, but the main thing is really the importance and what it really looks like to actually be doing this work, and what it really looks like to walk this path, because this is a hard path. It's not for the weak. And a lot of people when people get into the spiritual community, you know, it's fun. It's, oh, let's do some mushrooms. Oh, let's manifest our dream life. Oh, let's do this. And just kind of expecting these mystical fun experiences and expecting these lavish manifestations to just kind of fall on our path. And that's not at all what this path is. At all. It's really not. Don't get me wrong. There are beautiful moments and there's so much beauty on this path, but it's not the way a lot of people talk about it. And it's often not what people expect when they do embark on this path. It is work, essentially. They call it work for a reason. It's work that is worth it, and you will never regret doing this work. But if you want to align yourself with your most fulfilling and most abundant timeline, you have to do the real work. And it's not for the weak.
Yeah, and when we say work too, it's not like hustling outside of yourself and doing all this work, trying to work harder, trying to make more money, do more things, more. It's the inner work of sitting with yourself, doing your inner healing, getting clear on your past painful experiences, healing your inner child, your inner teenager, connecting with your higher self, processing your emotions, feeling your emotions, getting conscious of your limiting beliefs, rewiring your conscious, how you speak to yourself, how you talk to yourself. And really it's the inner work that we're talking about, the self-love journey of coming back home to yourself, coming back home to your wholeness, coming back home to your heart. And it's a lot harder than we realize, because it's so easy to say, okay, yeah, just learn how to love yourself. That it's easy to say, oh yeah, I think I do love myself. I do. Yeah. But it's like getting very clear on how you speak to yourself, the voice of your ego, the voice of your soul. When you're operating from wounds, it takes a lot of inner work, inner strength, inner courage. Yeah. And it's a lifelong journey, really. Yeah.
You know, I personally don't associate myself with New Age spirituality the same way I don't associate myself with religion. I believe there are truths in all of it, but I believe that the true spiritual path is the healing path and the self-love path. And like Holly said, it's easy to say those things, but we weren't taught how to heal. We weren't taught how to truly love ourselves. So what does that look like?
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Spirituality and the spiritual path is fun too, but it's not only fun. That's what roped me into it. That's how it started for me, was manifestation, tarot cards, I get to do a psilocybin journey, yes, this is so fun. Then the real path started, and then I really understood. And only when I embarked on that path, that's when I really started meeting soul family. That's really when more of the beautiful things did start happening in my life. But in order for those things to happen, the real work needed to be done.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I was not spiritual at all. My healing journey led me to spirituality, which I think is very different from what I've heard. And, I don't even really now I'm like, oh, I'm very spiritual. I don't really associate myself with the spiritual community. I feel like it's my own thing, you know. But I can understand so many people of the spiritual community. Like, I'm understanding the spiritual community, but I never really resonated with that. My healing journey just led me to spirituality, connecting with my spirit guides, my guardian angels, my ancestors. And that's what opened me up. And now I'm like really connected because my healing has led me so deeply back to myself, so that I can really connect with myself and feel all of the love, all of the guidance that's surrounding me. So my healing journey led me to spirituality, which is interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that's the true path though, you know, like that, like the true spiritual path is that path. And spirituality, like for me, it was a gateway, and I believe it is a gateway for many people.
Right.
They often stumble upon healing through that gateway. But some people, you know, they jump into the spiritual community and they spiritually bypass and they avoid the healing journey, and they say they're all spiritual, this and that, but
it's like
they're
the God complex, which
complex
is really dangerous, which is where like cults and all of that can get started. It can get really dangerous when you don't do the healing, but you're into spirituality.
Yes. It's like, oh, chills. Yes. It's like in my opinion, there's no spirituality without healing and self-love. The true spiritual path is the healing and self-love journey, the journey coming back home to self. It's not a quick fix. It's not a quick magic pill. It's not, oh, I'm going to sit and manifest my dream life on the new moon, and I'm going to wake up in a year from now and everything's going to be in my life. It doesn't work that way. And often on your true spiritual path, the healing self-love path, you will realize that what you thought you wanted to manifest in your life actually changes and actually shifts. And a lot of what you thought you wanted to manifest is not the stuff that would bring you the most fulfillment anyways.
Yeah, it's actually like I feel like a lot of people realize the things that they were manifesting were actually things coming from a wounded place of like, oh, I want this car, I want this money, I want this house. But it's coming from a wounded place of needing this external validation and not getting clear on, why do I actually want these things? What is this? What is this going to get me if I have this house, if I have this job, if I have this car? External validation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And just like a quick little example of that, you know, I used to sit and manifest like my dream apartment, and it was like at least a 3-bedroom apartment at least. And it was, you know, a really big kitchen and all of this stuff. And I would try to manifest a space quite literally just like this one, where I was like outside on the balcony with a view of the water and the trees. And then this was years ago. Fast forward to now, I kind of realized, oh my gosh, I manifested my dream apartment. It's a 1-bedroom. And it's a 1-bedroom. It's not this lavish place. However, I do have this beautiful outside space that allows me to remain connected with with nature. I live in, you know, rain city, as they call it, Vancouver. It rains all the time, so this allows me to be kind of like outside even when it's raining. But what I really realized is what I was trying to manifest before was more so for ego. It was this bigger place, this, that, and I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Like, when you're on the path, you will be taken care of. The universe will reward you. You know, it's like you will be taken care of, but it's not super lavish. It's a 1-bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's close to my parents' house, whereas before I was trying to manifest something in a different country or something like that, you know, and I'm realizing this is my most fulfilling path. You know, I'm closer to my family. I don't need anything more than a 1-bedroom.
Yeah, like you're going to get what you need, not necessarily what you want. And I think manifestation is just like, oh, I want all of these things, put so much material things, but it's like you'll get exactly what you need.
And don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful. Like, I am so grateful for this place.
Yeah,
like,
it's beautiful.
I
love
really
it so
am
much.
so grateful, and I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky to have this. And this is not me saying like it's not, you know, this is not me saying, oh, it's not lavish or anything. I think you get my point with like what I was saying.
Right.
This is more than what I need. This is more than what I need. But it is a 1-bedroom. It's not what I was trying to manifest before. And I'm like, what I was trying to manifest before is not really what I needed. And I'm like, what would I do with that? You know?
I think a lot of the times it comes from wounds of thinking we want these things, but like not understanding the deeper meaning of like, oh, why do I actually want that? What is that going to provide for me? And something too that keeps coming to mind that I want to touch on really quickly is spiritual bypassing. I think there's a lot of, which I'm realizing like now that I'm very spiritual, I think people that are in the spiritual community, which myself included, sometimes get caught up in just wanting it to be love and light, but like that is not reality. And there's so much spiritual bypassing when it comes to feeling your emotions. And in order to actually heal, there is no such thing as a bad emotion, a negative emotion. Emotions simply just are, and we have to allow all full range of emotions to exist and feel them without getting caught up in, oh, if I'm being negative, I'm not going to be able to manifest or be living in a high vibrational state. You know what I'm saying?
Can I go off of that?
Yeah.
Were you okay? So thank you for bringing that up. The sirens are agreeing with us right now. They're like, listen. If you could hear that in the background. So the spiritual community, a lot of people are afraid to feel certain emotions because what they perpetuate is stay high vibe. If you want to manifest your dream life, if you want to attract positive things into your reality, you need to stay high vibe. And it's not so simple as that. Think of your frequency as a base frequency. We all have a base frequency. And from day to day, your frequency might rise a little bit depending on your emotions that day. Maybe you're feeling really good that day. So yes, you might raise a little bit. And then other days when you're more emotional, it might dip a little bit. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you really want to raise your frequency to align to your most fulfilling timeline, you want to change your base frequency. How do you change your base frequency? It's by healing, because so many of us have wounds that are suppressed within us, and these things within us are quite literally weighing our frequency. It's weighing us down, and it's keeping us heavy. And when we do the real work, when we have the courage to allow ourselves to feel, and when we allow ourselves to go there, only then can we release those things from us, therefore releasing that weight. And when that weight is released, our base frequency then rises. So it's not so much about, oh, I need to be happy all the time. That actually is doing the opposite.
Like toxic positivity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like safe for us to feel the negative emotions. It's needed and necessary to like get that out of your body, get that out. And stored emotions get so stuck in our body. Stored trauma is stuck in the body. So when you fully allow yourself to go there, you're releasing it, therefore raising like your base. So exactly what you were talking about. Yeah.
And that takes time, it's kind of like, whether you want to gain weight or lose weight, it's the same thing. You're not going to lose all this weight overnight. You're not going to gain a bunch of weight overnight. It's going to take time, and it's going to take consistent work.
Yeah. And I think too, just what I'm seeing, which is really interesting that I want to touch on too, is I guess the spiritual community. I don't really know, just people that I see online too. It can be very spiritual, but have not done the inner work. Therefore, their perception is really skewed and not rooted in truth. And it's operating from a wounded place because the ego can take over and make you think something that's not really true. So the healing journey is so necessary to go hand in hand with your spiritual growth to make sure that it's healthy, that it's real, that you're sharing from authenticity, from truth. So not bashing the spiritual community whatsoever, just wanting to really hone in on the fact that you must be doing the inner work, the healing work, hand in hand with growing your spirituality so it can be healthy. And rooted and grounded. We must be rooted and grounded here in this physical world as well, not get too caught up in the spiritual realm. That's where, we can live, and it can get really dangerous of being way too caught up in that. It's like being very grounded in this physical world, taking care of your physical body, mind, body, spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Mind, body, spirit. We are sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is be a fucking human. We chose to be in this human physical vessel. It's fun, don't get me wrong. I love my spiritual world. I love connecting to spirit, but we chose to be in this 3D body. It is important to remain grounded. I know while I was off on my spiritual journey, there was a time where I got a little bit too far into the, airy fairy. And
that's where spiritual psychosis can come in as well, which we're like, I'm learning more about spiritual psychosis as well. Put that out there.
No, and that could be super dangerous. And because I was asking for help, like I was very aware, I was asking spirit for help, and I was very aware that my ego was growing. I said, help me, and I asked for help, and they brought me back down. But I was asking for help. I don't think a lot of people ask for help, and I'm not shaming anybody, but it's not something we think about. Just as society as a whole, a lot of us are made to feel like we need to do everything alone. Mm-hmm. So to even ask for help might seem unnatural. Like I ask for help genuinely every day. Help me stay connected to the heart. Help me stay in the heart space, because we are human. We have the ego, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. That's another thing with spiritual bypassing. A lot of people don't want to associate with the ego, because the way the ego is talked about is very, very negative. And we are love at the end of the day. Our soul is love. So innately, we're not evil. We don't want to associate with that. But because it's, projected in such a negative light, people are not honest with themselves. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it prevents them from really looking at the shadow within them, a very real part. It's the part of us that makes us human. It's a part that protects us, and it's very, very necessary. But without understanding it, we can go down a really dark path.
Yeah, and I want to say too, the healing journey is about integrating your shadow, loving these parts of you that are darker, that you're not so proud of, your jealousy, your shame, your guilt, your comparison, whatever it may be, like really loving these shadow aspects of yourself, integrating them into your being, allowing them to be there, but not allowing them to take over, letting your soul be in the driver's seat, and knowing the difference between your shadow and your light, because the light and the dark reside within us. So it's really being able to balance those two out, and we have to have both. That's the human experience. But I think so often we get caught up in, I just want to be love, I just want to be light. But we have to, the polarity is necessary, and we are all light and dark. Even our shirts, if you're watching, we're didn't even plan that. It's the light and dark, because like we all have that within us, and it's like owning your shadow, loving your shadow. It's all about loving yourself, loving your shadow, integrating the parts of you that you're not proud of into your being, and fully accepting yourself for who you are, owning yourself, owning exactly who you are, and stepping more into your authentic expression.
Yeah, the spiritual community calls it shadow work. I'm sure you've heard that term before. And it's exactly what Holly said. A lot of people are afraid to look at the shadow. A lot of people are not even aware of the shadow within them. There's a quote, I think it's by Carl Jung, I'm not sure. But it basically, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it's like, the deeper your roots can grow, it's like you can't touch heaven unless your roots reach hell. So it's, your power lies in your ability to see in the dark.
Yes. And just recently too, just now that we've both been on this path for so long, I have been sent to like pretty dark places energetically, because I need to be able to learn how to hold the dark too. Like, just as big as your light is, you can only hold, your capacity to hold light is only as big as your capacity to hold dark. And if you're afraid to go in the dark, you're dimming your own light. So being able to go dive into the dark, but still know who you are and trust yourself and be the light in the darkest places is part of that journey as well.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about that too, because with, spirituality, sometimes you will be put in dark places and you might not understand it, or people get afraid and they pull out. What's coming to mind is Kundalini. Like, we both had a Kundalini awakening last year, and for both of us during the Kundalini awakening, I know for you had to sit in a really ugly energy. I had to sit in a very, like, for me, the energy was shame, and it was very, very uncomfortable, and I needed to sit in that. But to go into that uncomfortable, to go into that dark and hold it and hold space for it and see it and not judge it, will then allow you to reach another, like a level up.
Yes. And even like how you had to sit in shame, was it your shame? Like your sexual shame, or just shame in general? It
might have been, honestly, I'm not sure. It was probably my shame. I had specifically, I remember, like, I would feel it physically. It was like work that was being done at the same time, and it was a lot of shame that I felt. And I've had like sexual abuse, and there was a lot of stuff there, and there's a lot of shame surrounding it.
Yeah. And it's interesting for me, because during my Kundalini too, I was sitting in that really dark energy, and it was sexual shame energy. And what was coming to mind was all of my past sexual partners that I had growing up that I am not proud of, but I had to sit in this really dense sexual shame energy of mine, and I was cheering myself on. It was so uncomfortable. I felt nauseous. I felt gross. I wanted to throw up, and I was just like, you've got this, Halls. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. You can get through this. You'll get through this. It's sitting through that uncomfortable.
I was cheering myself on too.
Yeah, that's what you have, because it's being the light in the dark.
I remember because when the Kundalini started happening, I was like, oh, is this Kundalini? And then it stopped, and I remember being like, okay, you can do this, Brittany. And I asked my spirit team, I'm like, help me, like, help this happen for me. And they were like, honey, like, we can't do anything. This is all you, but you got this. You got this. And I remember, kind of like cheering myself on. I was like, just breathing, like, you got this, you got this. And I don't know how long it was. It felt like forever, but it probably wasn't. Like, who knows? The time is not really a thing. It's, and I know, like,
sitting in that.
Yeah, like you had, well, we could, I don't know.
I want to just touch on something real quick too, because something that can come up too is like when I'm having all of these memories of my past sexual partners that I'm not proud of, you know, I could have easily started shaming myself again of like, oh my God, why would you do that? Why did you do that? That's so gross. Like, ew. I was loving myself through it. I was like, Halls, I understand where you were in that point in your life. Like, I forgive you. You're good. There's no judgment here. Like, you're safe. I love you. We can get through this. We're just going to sit through this. Because I understood that I always understand when I'm put in situations, it's always for my highest good. That's one thing that I know for a fact from my spirit team, from my guides, whoever is guiding me. I always know whatever I'm going through is for my highest good. So as I was sitting in this really gross energy, I was still being so kind to myself, because self-love, self-compassion over anything is what's going to get you through. And that's how you really heal. You're like forgiving yourself, loving yourself, creating this understanding, not shaming yourself anymore, not causing more shame and guilt. It's like feeling what you need to feel and loving yourself through it, forgiving yourself fully and completely, and accepting where you were and where you are now.
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. No, thank you. And like, as you're talking, it makes me think of, you know, when people do journeys sometimes, like a psilocybin journey, like, oh, I had a bad trip, you know, a quote unquote bad trip. And some people are fearful because, oh, I don't want to have a bad trip. Like, people only want the love and light. People only want the this. And I don't really believe in bad trips, because everything is always happening for you. Even if it's uncomfortable, sometimes spirit is putting you through an uncomfortable journey so that you can hold more, so that you could dive in deeper, so that you can bring maybe a part of your shadow into awareness, so that you can then bring it into the light.
Right. Yeah. Cause I think that's also, the bad trip, and also demonizing plant medicine as demonic. It's because you have to feel this darkness, and it's for your highest good. But that's where it can be like, oh, that was awful. That was gross. During our experiences, feeling that shame, we could have been like, oh my God, why would they why would I have to go through that? I'm so done. Like I get angry, but it's like, no, that was such a growth opportunity to sit through that and also understand what sexual shame in general is, the densest energy. Being able to physically feel that in your body and understand what most of society is living in is so necessary to have compassion for other people. And I was also in the energy of like pedophilia energy, because that is rampant in our world today as well. So sitting in that was so gross and so uncomfortable for me to sit in. But again, cheering myself on, I'm like, you can sit through this. It's okay. You've got this. It's like creating a deeper understanding, deeper awareness, because it's not supposed to be all love and light. It can't be.
Yeah. And something else I want to add is
that's where we learn the most.
Yes. Sorry. No. Yeah, you're right. And sometimes it's bigger than you. And what I mean by that, like what's coming to mind is what happened to me in Costa Rica. And I know things like this don't only happen to me. It happens to other people who are doing the work. It's sometimes by feeling that energy, being put in this energy, by healing you, you're not only healing you, you're healing the world. Sometimes it's bigger than you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know if I should get into like the example, but it's basically like not being fearful of the dark. It's not being fearful of the dark. It's surrendering. It's really surrendering and trusting that there is a reason for everything that transpires. Like I know that personally, I've been used as a vessel before to purge for the collective in a way, and those experiences are hard, like really, really, really hard. They're not comfortable. Being nauseous for 8 hours, not on ayahuasca or anything like that, is unexpected sometimes and uncomfortable, but it's knowing this is bigger than me. We are all here together. This is bigger than me, and it's surrendering to it, and knowing though by it's going there and knowing that you will, I don't want to say you will be rewarded for it, but it's like going down so that you can
it's like very deep learning experiences too, and like selfless, and knowing that really just continuing to show up and be of service in a way. And something I want to touch on too, because specifically when it comes to really like feeling this energy, for me, I feel energy really deeply, and I know Brittany does too. But when I've really felt dark energy that I've had to sit through, like shame and pedophilia energy and just really gross, dense energy, my experiences with that have been through plant medicine, and my biggest forms of growth have been through plant medicine. So we want to touch a bit on plant medicine. By us sharing this is by no means us telling you to take plant medicine. This is simply us. These are tools that we have used. I have the utmost respect for plant medicine, the utmost respect.
They're teachers.
They are our teachers. They are gifts. They are absolute gifts. And it is so unfortunate that so many people have misused them. And there is such a misconnotation with plant medicine. And it's been demonized in some of the world. It's been demonized in some spaces, but truly psilocybin, ayahuasca specifically, are such gifts to this world that I have the utmost respect for. And there is really, really powerful research that's coming out that supports people with anxiety, depression, PTSD. There's a lot of positive research that's coming out about plant medicine, which I do believe more and more people, as the research comes out and people see the positive effects, people are going to be more and more widely accepting this. I've already said this on one of the podcasts, but I really feel like 6 years down the road, it's going to be way more widely accepted because it's a healing tool. It's a tool. It is how we connect to the divine, to our ancestors. It's such a form of deep healing
to ourselves.
Yes, to ourselves. Absolutely the gateway home to ourselves. But it is not a magic pill. There is no such thing as a quick fix. There is no such thing as a magic pill. These are just tools to help you connect deeper with yourself. You see what you need to see during the ceremonies. Integration afterwards off of the medicine is the most important part. Part where I don't hear many people talking about integration, which that's the most important part to plant medicine. It's not even the actual medicine journey. It's what you do with that information afterwards.
No, thank you. Thank you. You worded that perfectly. I'm not going to repeat what she said. I agree totally 100% with what she said. You know, a lot of people often they go to these experiences and they will expect this mystical journey, and they hope that, you know, ayahuasca will do the healing for them. And it's not that. It's here. This is what you have to look at. Now it's time for you to go back and do the work and make the changes if you want to see actual change in your life. Like you said, it's not a magic pill. It never will be a magic pill. And, you know, without having the proper respect and you play around with these medicines.
It's disrespectful to the medicine, to the gifts that we've been given. These are such gifts, and they really have to be treated with the utmost honor and respect going into them. Yeah, plant medicine really found me in a way, and I'm so grateful. And I know it found Brittany too. But first thing I actually want to say too, before we get into it, is it's so important to work with trained professionals when it comes to this as well. We are not by any means telling you to go seek out plant medicine, do your own medicine journeys, like working with trained professionals that know what they're doing your own research on this medicine. If you feel called to it, looking into it, because it needs to be looked into, because if you're not ready, it can cause harm. We're interrupting this episode to share something close to our hearts, our virtual healing circles. We have been loving them so much and meeting so many of you incredible people through them. Brittany and I are passionate about bringing people together to support one another and heal in community. We felt alone on our paths for so long, and coming together in community has been instrumental to our growth, and we've both seen the importance in it. We aren't meant to do this alone. In unity and vulnerability, we find strength, courage, and support each other on our paths back to ourselves. Our monthly virtual seminars blend discussions, workshops, and practices to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Whether seeking guidance, healing, or a listening ear, our gatherings offer a safe, inclusive space for people to connect, heal, and grow. Join us on this journey of healing in community. Together we can heal, grow, and thrive. Register for the next circle using the link in the show notes. We hope to see you there.
Something that I just want to add to that, thank you for saying that, is, yeah, it's never seeking these out. You know, like I said before, it's more than just a physical substance that you consume. These are teachers. These are spirits.
Yes.
These are spirits. The physical substance allows you to access those spirits. It's so much more than just the physical thing. Again, do not seek it out. It will find you. They are teachers. The teacher finds the student when the student is ready. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a personal example. For me, I started to feel the call for ayahuasca in 2023. December of 2022, January of 2023, I really started feeling it more. So I put it out into the universe. I said, okay, Mother Aya, if you are calling me, because, they say that Mother Aya calls you. If you are calling me, I would love to gift myself an ayahuasca ceremony for my 30th birthday, which is in October. I'm not even over exaggerating when I tell you I was invited to 4 different ceremonies in the month of October. So the universe made it crystal clear to me that Mother Aya was calling me. It was given to me. Same with psilocybin. I've been gifted psilocybin when I was really on my journey. It came to me. So it wasn't something that I was actively seeking out. It found me.
Yeah. And something I want to say too, I did not start, I haven't done that many ceremonies, but I was very much on my healing path for a while before plant medicine was introduced to me. So I was already at a really beautiful baseline, because talk therapy, working through things, you can get to a really beautiful baseline of doing your inner work. And the plant medicine really supports you in the best way I can describe it. Plant medicine gives you access to what you need to see right during the ceremony that may have taken you 5 to 10 years to get to in therapy. That's what it means by 5 years of therapy in one night, because it takes you directly to the root of something that you need to see that you may be missing. Again, not a quick fix. It's just taking you directly to the source so you can start to heal. And it only shows you what you are ready for, but it is necessary, I truly believe, to already be on the path of self-discovery, self-work, doing the inner work before starting to implement these plants.
No, 100%. And I did a little video about it, and I said the exact same thing, because if you don't have the tools to heal on your own, how do you expect to integrate after being shown all of these things? Right. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because integration is the most important part. Mm-hmm. It's not a quick fix. It's not a one pill cures all. It's not going to change in one night. This is it. Now you have to do the work. So if you don't already know how to do the work, mm-hmm. you're going to be left with, it could go dark, basically.
Yeah. And I want to give a quick example of why integration is so important and how this is not a quick fix. So plant medicine found my husband and I almost 2.5 years ago at this point. We had a friend of ours who asked us if we wanted to go on a retreat on the weekend with plant medicine. And since I'm in the holistic health space, I had never done it before, but I was like, I'm open to it. It's holistic, it's plant medicine, so I am open to it. Eric, my husband, was open to it, so we decided that we would go on this retreat. At that time, I had already really been on my healing journey. My husband was not on his. We were still heavily drinking, out of college, trying to figure out what we're doing with our lives, a little bit disconnected. Connected, we thought we were connected, but not really realizing how disconnected we actually were, because day-to-day life, I think couples, we can get so comfortable. Eric and I are married. You can get very comfortable, think that you're close, but not really be having deep conversations, just living in the day-to-day life, thinking you're connected, not really realizing how disconnected you actually are. So we did a plant medicine journey together with trained professionals. And the first night, Eric was able to share something with me, which I'm not going to get into, if he wants to share that at some point, he can. But he shared something with me that was really weighing heavy on his heart that I didn't know about, and was actually leading him to drinking a lot of alcohol. His family, there's a lot of addiction, alcohol. So he was really spiraling down this
suppressing.
Yeah, he was really suppressing a lot and using alcohol to cope. But he was able we actually did MDMA and psilocybin. So MDMA is a heart opener. And so my heart was completely open. He was able to share something with me that was really weighing heavy on him that he had been suppressing for years. And I was able to meet and see him with love and compassion. Like, because my heart was so open, I could really see his pain. I could see his pain and love him through what he shared with me. And after that, he had this big realization around how alcohol has been really getting in the way of our relationship, of his life, of him, that he really wasn't that happy, that I wasn't happy. Alcohol has always been a really negative thing in our life. And so after that ceremony, since he was able to share something with me that he told me he was going to take that to his grave. That's the power of plant medicine. It opens you up to things. It allows you to share, to be witness, to speak out things that you would have never said without it. It just opens you up. He decided he was going to cut out alcohol, and we both decided, it was a really big thing for Eric to cut out alcohol. And I was like, I support you. I will 100% do that. We had these big realizations during ceremony. The work started after ceremony. The work started with us learning how to communicate with one another, choosing each and every day to not pick up a glass of wine or beer or whatever it may be, like a total lifestyle change. And it chose him showing up for himself each and every day, choosing not to drink each and every weekend, us figuring out who we were outside of going out on the weekends and drinking and, going out to dinners with wine and all of that. The integration started after that. And now he's been over 2 years sober, and and we are more connected now than we've ever been. But it's not a magic pill. It was that beautiful ceremony that gave us the gift. It was a gift, an opportunity to connect. But it was the work that started afterwards of why was he drinking so heavily in the first place? Why was I drinking so heavily in the first place? Yeah. What were we suppressing? Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And thank you for sharing. I started getting emotional and I had chills all down my legs. Yeah. So thank you for that. I'm sure, other people will definitely be able to resonate and feel that. What was coming to mind, something else that I would like to share on the lines of plant medicine. Sometimes it could be used as a crutch. People use it as a crutch, and I don't know if addicted to plant medicine is really a thing, but in a way, you can use it. I myself, weed. Let's talk about that for a moment. When I was really going through my healing journey, weed really helped me. I feel like there's a fine line with plant medicine in general, but with weed, it's so readily available nowadays, at least where I live. And it really helped me genuinely, because it is a plant medicine. Sometimes people use weed to suppress. Other times, for me, it helped me feel more. It helped me tap into certain areas. And it also, when I was really going through it, weed really did help me. But I developed a little bit of an attachment to it. And I started realizing that when I would go through hard things, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna smoke some weed. I'm gonna smoke some weed. And I got myself to a point where logically I'm like, I know I don't need it. I know I don't need it, because, it was interesting because it didn't prevent me from getting work done or anything like that. I was still very productive. I did my thing, and then I didn't let it get in the way. So because I didn't let it get in the way, I didn't really realize that I was using it as a crutch a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like too, though, when intense things would come up, it's like turning to something outside of you. For other people, that could be food. For other people, it's alcohol, TV, social media. Yours happen to be weed, so that's when it can get the crutch. It's like turning to something outside of yourself when uncomfortable things come up.
Yes. Yeah. I knew I didn't need it, though, because I knew at one point, I don't want to say I needed it, but it really helped me. And because it helped me, I developed this comfort thing with it, like a comfort blanket or like a pacifier or whatever. I would think to myself, I know I have the tools to work through this without the weed, because the weed would help me tap into myself more, And I'm like, I know I have the tools, without the weed? Why am I? And eventually, like, I don't smoke regularly now anymore. And that's more so, I want to say more so new. Last year, I was like really smoking heavily during my healing journey in the summer specifically. I would go on and off. Like, it was like a really like on and off sort of a thing. But people can fall into using these things as a crutch, or for me, like giving my power away, like, oh, I need the weed to help me with this.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, like, no, I don't.
Away.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't. Like, I have the tools. I've done so much work on myself. Like, I have the tools to move through this without my comfort blankie anymore.
Yeah. And I too, it's like so many of the times we give our power away to plant medicine, to whatever it may be. You have everything you need within you already.
Yeah.
Like you have everything you need within you. These are quite literally tools that you can use to support you to come home to yourself, to create a deeper understanding of yourself, to connect with yourself deeper, to help you feel your emotions. Even with microdosing weed, it can help you tap into your emotions and actually feel safe to feel your emotions. So, but knowing that you can actually tap into that without the medicine, without anything, you already have that within you, but it kind of helps break down the walls a little bit. But it's important not to be dependent on these things. That's when it's a fine line, you know?
Yeah, it's like you don't need the crutch. And again, like some people use weed to suppress. For me, it was different. It helped me, tap in more. Yeah. And then I got to a place on my journey where I'm like, I have enough tools now that I don't actually need it. And it's different for everybody though, and this is where being honest with yourself is so important. For a while with weed, I wasn't fully honest with myself because I was like, oh, it's not getting in the way of my productivity. I'm still getting all my things done. I only do it at the end of the day, or I only do it when, I'm going through something. Like, it's not, do you know what I'm saying? I wasn't fully honest with myself. And this is, facing the shadow within you, facing the darkness within you, the ego, and not being afraid to look at those things. Hey guys, we are super excited to announce the launch of something new. We will be launching something called a community on a platform called School. That's SKOOL. It's similar to a Patreon, but better. It's a platform for learning and, community. Basically, it will give you access to exclusive content from both Holly and I. Holly is a certified holistic health coach, and she is also a certified embodiment coach. I have a degree in kinesiology and received a certification in personal training. I also am an advancing student in mediumship development and have been channeling spirit for as long as I can remember. Through our own experience and journeys, as well as our knowledge gained through education, we will be curating content to specifically aid in your journeys back home to self. This will include monthly guided meditations, guided embodiment practices, pick-a-card readings, energy healing, guided workouts, and healthy recipes. It will also include important teachings to help you become the most embodied version of yourself. Some topics will include how to connect with your intuition, how to tap into the psychic within you, how to heal your inner child, how to face and understand your ego, how to heal your relationship with your body and food, and more. This platform will also allow for conversation and connection with others who are also part of the community, giving you the opportunity to potentially meet other like-minded individuals who are also on the path of becoming the best versions of themselves. This path is not easy and at times can be isolating. We are not supposed to do this alone. Community is so healing and so important, so we hope this will provide support for you regardless of where you might be on your journey. It's only $22.22 a month, where you will have unlimited access to all of the content as well as the new content rolled out monthly. It will also give you a $10 discount on our monthly healing circles. Holly and I both struggled with self-image, self-confidence, knowing our self-worth, and knowing what it means to truly love ourselves majority of our lives. The truth is that we are not taught how to properly love ourselves in this day and age, and we are on a mission to make change. We owe it to the future generations to come. We believe that it is important to love your mind, body, and spirit cohesively in order to truly step into the highest, most authentic version of yourself. We hope to see you there, honey. One thing I want to talk about, I'm sure I'm not sure exactly when this episode is airing. I'm not sure exactly the date. So I'm not sure if our community is up and going yet or not. If you're on the healing journey or you're curious as to like where to start, because honestly, it's like, okay, well, I know I need to heal, but what does healing look like? Like, what does it mean? Because a lot of people might be aware of wounds, but it's one thing to be aware. That's step one. You know, it's like it's like people who smoke cigarettes, for example. If you're addicted to cigarettes, you can be aware that it's a problem, but the change only happens when you start implementing change and doing the healing. So being aware of your trauma is one thing. It's how do you heal that? How do I
processing it?
Yeah.
Feeling it.
Yeah. So I know we started the community. You have a bunch of videos on inner child work specifically and healing. I really talk about the ego and really understanding the ego. And I feel like having a good understanding of both of those things will really, really help start the healing process.
Yeah. And I have a program too that I'm going to lay out in that too of like the journey back home to yourself, because I really struggled with an eating disorder with my relationship with myself. I had severe anxiety and eating disorder, such negative self-talk, and how the journey that I went on to be here right now, sitting here comfortable talking on camera. Like, it's the whole journey of coming back home to yourself, learning how to love yourself, learning how to connect with these younger parts, feel your emotions, really heal, because healing is all over the place. That word is like being very overused, but like, how do you actually do it? Feeling. Your healing is feeling everything, feeling all of your emotions, and coming back home to your heart, to your wholeness, knowing that you're not broken, you've never been broken, coming back to your wholeness and integrating all parts of you, the parts of you again that you're not proud of, your shadow self, and learning the voice of your shadow and the voice of your light.
And breathwork's actually coming to mind right now too. Another way to tap into emotion is breathwork. Breathwork is so powerful. You don't need anything outside of yourself for breathwork. You just need you, yourself. I was going to say me, myself, and I, but you, yourself, and you. You need you, yourself, and you, whatever. And something else that I want to say too is, healing is not linear. There's going to be ups and downs. And I know on my healing journey, when I really started healing, I didn't really know how to at first. It's putting it out into the universe. Help me, guide me. They'll bring you to the right people. They'll bring you to the right opportunities. They'll bring you across the right books, X, Y, and Z. And also, like, don't judge yourself. If you're like ready to start healing, your body's ready to start healing, you wake up one day and you need to cry. A lot of people are like, why am I sad? I have no reason to be sad, and they suppress it. I remember on my healing journey for a chunk of time, I'd wake up crying every day, and I knew it was just me purging emotions. There was so much to purge. I didn't always necessarily know where it was coming from. It didn't matter. Just giving yourself the opportunity to release that. And I know breath work is actually a really good tool to get yourself into those stuck emotions that you might not even be aware of.
A couple books I want to recommend if you're looking to get started too. One is Happy Days by Gabby Bernstein. I highly recommend that. She has a bunch of practices throughout the book. She has a website where you can do like guided meditations, EFT tapping, just different ways to like help process things. So Happy Days by Gabby Bernstein, such a good one. Then It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallen. That's a really good way to get clear on your generational patterns, because it didn't start with you. Your negative self-talk, these patterns that are showing up within you, it didn't start with you. They've been passed down from generation to generation. That book helped me get really clear on this need to be perfect that has been passed down from, generation to generation, which actually Mother Aya helped me really get rid of out of my body once I created that awareness. That book was very much preparation for a journey of mine that was really powerful. But even if you don't do that, that's a really good book to create awareness and start breaking these patterns, breaking these cycles. And then also the book, The Body Keeps Score. I can't remember who that's by, but The Body Keeps Score. Those are really 3 really good books to just start informing yourself, to get curious, to kind of deeply understand some things that may be holding you back. Yeah, Happy Days is a really good one to start with. And it's like connecting with your guides too, because the memories that come through while you're reading that book are very much divinely guided by your guides specifically.
I love that. And something that you actually told me to do this a while ago. And for me, it's one of my favorite things to do. Really helps, again, potentially tap into things you didn't even know were there. Take like an old picture of yourself, a younger photo of yourself. Maybe like I love to take a photo of me when I'm really little, or a photo of me where I'm like, where at that time I wasn't confident. I thought I was ugly, and I write a letter as I'm looking at my picture, and I say what she needed to hear at that time. And literally sometimes the tears will just start flowing.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. Such a good way to connect with the inner child, because most of our wounds, most things that are coming up are from our childhood, these younger parts of us that just need to be seen, loved, and acknowledged by you. So reconnecting with those younger parts. Mirror work is another really powerful thing to do. Looking at yourself in the mirror every morning and like connecting with yourself, dancing in the mirror, like connecting with your body.
That was a huge one for me. And like you, I also had eating disorders, body dysmorphia, the whole 9 yards. And dancing in front of the mirror, sometimes dancing, sometimes not dancing. I do 2 different things. Sometimes I dance in front of the mirror naked, getting comfortable with your body. That's can be really confronting and really uncomfortable, but like the only person you're running from is yourself, And also sometimes right after I get out of the shower, I'll take body oil and I'll sit in front of the full length mirror and I'll oil myself up. Yeah. Such a beautiful way to connect with the body. Like that sensual, loving energy. Yes. And it was really uncomfortable at first. I remember there was a time where I genuinely could not even look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And now I force myself. I love you in the morning, mirror work. And then also just naked, connecting to your body, mind, body, spirit. It's connecting to your body. Also, as you mentioned, breath work is the greatest way to start creating safety in your body. Like that deep belly breathing is actually signaling to your nervous system that you are safe. So especially if you struggle with anxiety, you're getting anxious, it's like doing that breath work, just even deep belly breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, to connect to your body, create that safety in your body and your nervous system, and like connect. It's more likely than not a younger part of you that's feeling anxious. So being that nurturing, loving energy to that younger part too while you're doing that is really a beautiful way to create actual safety in your body, to connect with your body, to be embodied in your body. So with the dancing, with connecting with your body in the mirror, like actually that deep belly breathing is really powerful. I have videos of this on my Instagram, talking to myself. Like sometimes if I'm feeling like a lot of emotion, sometimes I don't know where it's coming from. I let myself cry. I did this a lot when I was really in it deep. And I would start talking to myself, and I would start literally out loud. I'd say, "It's okay, honey. It's okay. You're allowed to feel." And then all of a sudden more comes out. Letting yourself know it's safe. Yes. And it's when I'm talking to myself, I'm talking to a younger version of me, a younger part of me, because time is not actually linear the way we are experiencing it. So those younger parts of you are very much so alive. Time does not heal. Time simply buries things deeper and deeper. So when you're able to dig in there and actually go there, that's when the true healing can happen. But don't judge yourself. Again, don't be afraid to talk to yourself, because it's not like you're babying yourself. You're talking to the baby in you. The baby in you needed to hear those things. It's that version of you that needs to release, that needs to cry. Yeah, you're being the parent to yourself in that moment that you didn't have in that moment, being that nurturing, loving energy to yourself. You can quite literally change your childhood by doing inner child work, because time is not linear. You are going back and healing that version of you, therefore healing your childhood experience. It's that powerful. It's that powerful. Yeah, I have chills as you're saying that, which is crazy, which, again, what I said at the beginning, when you do that work, you were releasing weight. You were releasing energetic weight. And as a result of that, your base frequency is going to rise. And as a result of that, you are going to become more in alignment with your most fulfilling timeline. Right. which is going to be full of blessings.
When you really heal and feel these past emotions, there's just so much energetic weight that comes off of you. So it really, if you're looking for a place to get started, which I always recommend, is like really starting to like, again, like we talked about, connect with yourself in the mirror, take inventory on how it actually, that's a really good indicator to show where you are in your relationship with yourself based off of what it feels like to look at yourself in the eye and say, I love you. Because I have clients where it makes them feel sick to their stomach. They get so anxious, they look away, they feel like they want to cry, they feel like they want to get sick. It couldn't be further from the truth. I know when I first started doing it, it couldn't have felt further from the truth. So that's a really big indicator of like where you are, and just continuing to show up each and every day, connecting with yourself in the mirror, meditating, journaling, getting clear on how you're talking to yourself. Then the rest will like fall into place. Trust that the rest is going to fall into place. But the inner work really is diving deep into inner child, inner teenager, those deep wounds that we may not even be fully aware of.
Yeah. And it is work. And one thing I wanted to say, when you're looking in the mirror, some of your clients, you said, feel sick and whatnot. What popped to mind is laughter too. If you're laughing, that's another uncomfortable way, you know, it's not laughing at yourself. It's, you know, and being graceful with yourself. I think you said,
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. I think you said, I'm learning to love you. You know, if I love you is too much, I'm learning to love you. I'm not giving up on you because you're worth it. And I'm excited to get to know you and to learn more about you. You're beautiful, you know, and, you know, say whatever it is that you need, what you need to say. But I love that you say, don't worry. You know, the work is here. It's in the here. It's in the now. You don't need to try to manifest your dream life. You don't need to do that kind of work, because by
it naturally flows.
It'll naturally flow. By doing the internal work, you are going to naturally align with your most abundant, most fulfilling timeline. But again, the spiritual community, it's rooted in ego. Manifest your dream life, plan your future. It's control.
And instant gratification. We want things so instantly, but it's work. Nothing happens overnight. There's no such thing as a quick fix. There's no such thing to manifest these things quickly, you know?
Yeah, it's time, but it's like you're worth it, and you are worth that time and that patience. So don't exert your energy on the future. Your mind, that's your mind wanting to do that. That's your ego. We're supposed to, again, feel our way, not think our way. The mind is like a remote control in a video game, controlling your avatar for the here and now, not supposed to control what comes next. That's the only thing your mind is for. Your soul communicates with you through your heart. Listen to your heart, follow your heart. That's what's going to take you to where you want to go. You don't need to control it. That's not your job. Surrender to spirit. Your path is already planned out.
And always speak from your heart and feel your way through situations instead of thinking your way through. Like really feel your way through situations. Always speak from your heart. So much we're speaking from our heads, wanting things from our heads. Like feel your way through things.
I love that. Is there anything else?
One last thing that I want to say too is during this, we've already kind of touched on it. Show yourself so much love, compassion, and grace, because this is not easy. It's messy. It is so messy. It's supposed to be messy. It's supposed to be messy. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be beautiful. It's all of the things wrapped into one. There's no one right way. Everyone's journey looks completely different. What worked for me is going to work different for you. What worked for Brittany is going to work different for you. Trust yourself, your own path. Don't compare yourself, and show yourself so much compassion.
Yes, thank you. You reminded me of something that I want to say as well. I always say, try to do something every day for the mind, the body, and the spirit. It's not a box that you're simply checking off the list. Because if you want to love yourself genuinely, step into the most healed, most authentic, highest version of yourself, you need to dedicate yourself to the mind, the body, the spirit every day. Now, those things that you do every day can vary. For example, the body. I like to do some sort of movement every day. Maybe I have a lot of energy and I want to smash a workout at the gym. Sweet. That's what I'm going to do. Maybe another day I'm really tired. Okay, I'm just going to stretch, or I'm just going to go for a walk. Maybe for the mind, I feel like meditating. Maybe there's another day where I'm too jittery and I'm like, there's no way I could sit still. Okay, I'm going to go for a walk by myself to clear the mind. Something for the spirit, something that lights you up, something that excites you. It doesn't need to take up your whole day. Do you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of you are moms, a lot of you are busy, a lot of you got X, Y, and Z going on, but it is crucial to dedicate time to you, because if you don't dedicate time to yourself every day, you're telling the universe, I don't really care about myself. I'm not putting myself first. And if you really want to come home to self, it is putting you first. It is going to feel uncomfortable because you might not be used to it. But that's the work. There's some work right there. And again, going back to the checking boxes off the list, this is something I fell into specifically with the body because I had eating disorders, X, Y, and Z. I would say, Brittany, if you really loved yourself, you would go to the gym. And I was kind of hating myself.
It's like hating your way through it instead of that love and compassion of, no, we love our body so much. We're going to go move it because we know that our body loves movement for energy.
And I'm going to give you a little funny example of what happened to me. This was last year in San Diego. I was working through, I've been working on my body image for years now. Like this has been an ongoing thing for years, and I am at the best place I've ever been. Last year I was at, a decent place, but I was still like hating myself a little bit, forcing myself like, oh, like you lazy, like you didn't go to the gym. If you really loved yourself, you would go to the gym. And that day I was tired, so I didn't go to the gym. Evening creeps around. I started feeling guilty. The guilt started seeping in. So I was like, okay, do you know what? I'm just going to go for a run. The sun was setting and I was like, do you know what? It's going to be beautiful. If I really listened to my body, and if I really listened to my heart, and honored it, I would have went for a walk or I would have just stretched. But nope, little stubborn, egoic Brittany had to go for a run because she had to push herself. And as I'm going for a run, there was a group of people on my path. So I had to kind of run around them. And where I needed to run, the ground was uneven and I twisted my ankle. Now, I've torn ligaments in my ankles many of times back in the day when I played more sports. A twisted ankle for me is not just a twisted ankle. So right away I was like, oh shit, but I didn't get upset about it. Right away I knew everything is happening for me. So in that moment I was present. I said, what are you trying to tell me? And I kid you not, in that moment, the lyrics of the song that I was happening to listen to, Taylor Swift song, it goes, you need to just stop. Can you just not? And I looked directly at a sign that said, slow down.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, wow.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, I hear you.
Yeah. Because even though you were doing that for yourself, it was from a hateful place of like that guilt, that shame. And it's so important on this journey too, because there's a lot of truth to the holistic path, the holistic healing of mind, body, spirit, of taking care of your body. You were trying to take care of your body, but it was also coming from this like darker kind of place of this guilt. It's so important to have balance, honoring your body, balancing, resting, movement, honoring,
while also having discipline. That's what I was going to say, dedication, but like it's important to have discipline because for me it was like, be disciplined, you need to do this, but it's a fine line, and this is where it is going to be different for everybody. Right. If you've never had body image issues before, maybe that wouldn't necessarily be so much an issue for you. Like maybe it is, maybe it's not, I'm not sure, but I know for me it was coming from a darker place of the image and that sort of a thing, and needing to look a certain way, the guilt. So it's different for everyone. One shoe does not fit all, but
that understanding though comes from being so honest and like connecting with yourself enough that you understood in that moment that was coming from a wounded place. Whereas like for other people that may happen, and it's being honest with yourself of, oh, was that coming from a wound? But like only you will know that. You have to be honest with yourself and connect with yourself deeply enough to know the voice of like what that deeper meaning was behind it.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Just know spirit really is on your side. Your higher self is on your side. And even if things are seemingly like, I was hobbling around for a couple days. Like I didn't do a workout for a couple days because I had a sprained ankle. I was hobbling around, but I was okay with it because I was at a place in my journey where I understood, okay, they're helping me out here. They're helping me out here, even though it's tough love. Sometimes they'll give you some tough love. It's not getting, when those things happen too, because sometimes things like that will happen on your journey.
Always asking, what is this trying to teach me? what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to show me? Like if you didn't ask, if you didn't investigate, you would have just like kept going. You know, it's like always asking, because there's lessons in everything.
Yeah, I would have missed the song. I would have missed the sign, and I would have been pissed off. I would have been like, F this. Why did this happen? I can't believe this happened. I'm trying to take care of myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Of course, when I try to be disciplined and take care of myself, this happens, and not actually seeing the message behind it. Another really quick example, when I was like teaching heavily and I was stressed the fuck out. I had 3 jobs, teaching full-time, coaching. I got such a bad bout of vertigo. I was bedridden for like a month.
That's a sign. Anytime you're getting sick, the vertigo, anything, that's always a sign to slow down.
I pushed, like I was forced to be bedridden, but at the time I didn't see it at the time. But it's like, that was shitty. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, but in hindsight, that was happening for me. The universe was like, slow the F down, honey. You are not in alignment right now, you know, and eventually I figured it out.
Yeah. Something too that I think we're going to dive into more in another episode is like really learning, even on this healing journey, learning how to nourish your body from a place of love, because I feel like the food we put in our body, the way we move our body, the way we speak to our bodies, connect to our bodies, is so much a part of this journey of like coming home to self, because our bodies are our vessels and our homes in this lifetime. So we must honor and nourish them with nourishing foods, but also finding the right balance with food. No restriction, no deprivation, finding that right balance, because another way of like really supporting yourself is by like really taking care of this body that we have, which I think can be often missed.
It's a temple.
Yes. So I want to dive deeper into that, but that'll be in another episode. We're really finding that balance with your body, with food, with nourishment, movement, all of that, because that's been a journey of mine for the past like 7 years, learning how to really balance that out, because I really struggled with that.
Same.
So we'll dive deeper into that too, because that's so much a part of eating from a place of love, and knowing when you are eating to suppress something, emotional eating, binging, restricting, deeper understanding of that, and how to like be there for your inner child. So I want to dive deeper into that, but we'll do that in another episode.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
I think, this episode is probably going to be about an hour or so. So thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you. If you have any questions or want us to dive deeper into any of the topics that we talked about, please leave a comment or send us an email, or we would love to dive deeper into whatever you're most interested in too.
Yeah. And check out our healing circles, right? We're talking about healing today.
Yes.
Check out our healing circles. Healing in community is so much more powerful than healing alone. I mean, you got to do both. So check that out. Link will be in the description box below. Yeah. Also check out our community if that would be something you are interested in. Yes. Thank you again so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye. As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude for joining us on this journey. Your support does not go unnoticed. If you enjoyed this episode and find value in our conversations, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also allows us to reach more people who can benefit from our community of healing and support. Every review, every rating makes a difference. Thank you for being a part of the Multiple Truths podcast family. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Multiple Truths podcast. Keep speaking your truth and spreading your light. We love you, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.